Good morning. Good morning. It is Friday, June the 11th. I'm Pastor Mark, also known as Rev. I'm here with you this morning or this afternoon or this evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. First, let me say thank you for watching, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to read just a couple of verses to you this morning, both of them from John 14, and then I'm going to kind of skip and tell the story a little bit from John chapter 21. In John chapter 14, Jesus says this: "If you love me, you will obey what I command." And then down to verse 21, "Whoever has my commands and obeys them, he is the one who loves me. He who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love him and show myself to him." Now, some years ago, there was a song that became popular. It was called "Love in Any Language." I don't even know who sang. Love in any language. Can you say I love you in any different languages other than English? I tried looking some up just to see. And it's a good thing I speak English and can't speak any other language, because I couldn't pronounce most of it. In German, you would say something like this, and it's "Ich liebe dich." I don't know. It sounds kind of funny because you say "ich" in front of it, but that's it. Ich liebe dich. And in Spanish, it's "te amo." A lot easier to say. I still don't know if I said it right, but you can try those. You can look up. You can learn to say "I love you" in any language. Now, in sign language, this one I can do. You can say "I love you" simply by doing this: your thumb, your first finger, and your little finger. That is "I love you" in sign language. Now, saying "I love you" is pretty easy, but it's sometimes a whole lot harder to show love by your actions. And this is where I'm going to go to John chapter 21 and kind of tell the story. It's probably, might be pretty familiar to you. After Jesus had been resurrected, he had appeared to the disciples. In fact, he appeared to them several times. But this particular time that he appears to the disciples, he was on the shore of the Sea of Galilee while the disciples were fishing. And if you remember, he called out to them and, "Have you got any fish?" And they said no. And he said, "Cast your net on the other side." And remember, they caught so many fish that their nets began to tear. They had to drag it ashore. And John says to Peter, "It's the Lord." And so Peter gets dressed and jumps in the water and swims to Jesus. And so as everybody gets up on the shore, and Jesus has already got breakfast going, and they're just sitting around, and Jesus looks at Peter and he says, he says, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" And Peter says, "Well, yes, Lord. You know that I love you." Then Jesus says to Peter, "Feed my lambs." And then he says to Peter again, "Peter, do you love me?" And again, Peter says, "Yes, Lord, I love you." And Jesus says, "Take care of my sheep." And then one more time, a third time, Jesus says to Peter, "Do you love me?" Now, Peter was sad that Jesus had asked him 3 times this same question. But he answers again. He says, "Lord, you know all things, you know that I love you. And Jesus says, feed my sheep. So, why does Jesus ask Peter this question? Do you love me? 3 times. Well, maybe because he wanted Peter to understand, and he wants you and me to understand, that it isn't enough just to say, I love you. We need to show our love for Jesus by showing our love for one another, by caring for one another. Do you love Jesus? Then feed and take care of his sheep. Now that's love. That's the love that can be understood in any language. I'm Pastor Mark. I love you guys. Be safe, be well, be blessed, be strong. Know that you are loved by Christ. Let's show our love to him by taking care of one another. See you tomorrow.